Hey, this is Tamatonga, Bullet Club Original OG triple OG triple, and you're listening to the Junkyard.
This is what you call a paradigm shift.
Hey everybody, welcome to a special edition of the Junkyard. My name's Spencer Cantor, also known as number...
Spencer.
What?
Hold it right there. This is a big episode of the Junkyard, brother. We need a big introduction today. I need something just grandiose.
I've had it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Pro Wrestling Junkies proudly presents the three hosts of the best podcast on the PWJ podcast stage. The hosts are number 11, Spencer Cantor. What do you say with DDJ, host and co-host of the Junkyard, Dennis Day Jr., DDJ. I am Jovanni, Too Hotty, also known as El Guapo, Too Hotty, and together we are your hosts of the Junkyard.
All right. Hey, I'm feeling it now. It's a special episode. We need a special introduction. Thank you very much, El Guapo, Too Hotty.
Man, I am pumped after that.
See, there we go. Let's keep it going.
Let's keep it going. Man, we felt like we needed to do this special episode because of what happened last night on AEW Dynamite. And guys, let's just get into it. Let's kind of talk about like, you know, the first stuff, and then we'll get into the big stuff because that's what everybody wants to know. Okay, so first off, we had the Diamond Battle Royal. Overall, really good. They told a lot of stories. You had the story like with Hangman and the Dark Order, the Sammy Guevara, MJF, Wardlow dynamic with the Inner Circle, Kip, Orange Cassidy, and Miro, Spears,
and Scorpio Sky.
Right, yeah. So you had like a bunch of intermingled stories, but then like we'll just get down to the final four because if you want to watch it, you can. Go back. So we had MJF, Sammy Guevara, Wardlow, and Jungle Boy were the supposed final four. Jungle Boy and Sammy Guevara do this amazing like tightrope dance on the side of the ring. Yeah, Sammy Guevara, amazing. And then when Sammy Guevara is about to suplex Jungle Boy outside of the arena, MJF shoves him off, and Sammy's like, dude, what the hell? We're in the Inner Circle together. And MJF is just thinking of himself because, you know, it's MJF. So MJF and Wardlow are like, oh, man, that's cool. But then Wardlow is the one with the brains, and he's like, dude, Orange Cassidy was never eliminated because I think like Kip attacked and pulled him underneath the bottom rope.
Right.
So then Orange Cassidy comes back in, does a bunch of offense, eliminates Wardlow. So next week on Dynamite, we're going to have MJF versus Orange Cassidy for the Diamond Ring, which MJF currently holds. So he could possibly be the two-time winner and still hold it, or Orange Cassidy will get it. Thoughts on that match, guys, and who do you think is going to come out in the winner in that one?
I want to say again, yeah, I think you summed up that Battle Royal perfectly. That Battle Royal did what every Battle Royal should do, and that's tell not more than one story. Right. And you basically hit on all the major stories that were told in that. The one I really liked that was the story that it told between Shawn Spears and Scorpio Sky, because literally they stared at each other like for a good few minutes before I think Scorpio Sky got in the ring. Right. And then, you know, Shawn Spears was playing the smart cowardly heel, however you want to talk about, like, you know, taking forever to get in the ring and stuff. But yeah, once everybody was in the ring, there was a lot of great stories. You mentioned Hangman and the Dark Order. You mentioned, you know, the whole Inner Circle and stuff. So, but I think it was the right call for who it came down to, with it being MJF and Orange Cassidy. And reason being is I think MJF, you know, that ring is kind of almost like a championship for him, and, you know, he should defend it. And obviously Orange Cassidy really is one of the, you know, hottest up and coming stars in AEW. I mean, basically he's one of those guys that's really become, you know, on the verge of becoming mainstream or like really well known on a national scale, like a la Darby Allin because of AEW. So I think it's a great way to kind of showcase, you know, the future. And as for who I think is going to win, I'm actually going to go with Orange Cassidy on this because I think what's going to happen is I believe, I don't know, it may depend on where this match is placed on the card. If it's placed on the card before the Inner Circle segment that's supposed to happen, that week, or that week, if it's before or after. I guess one way or another, I guess maybe it may not affect the outcome, but I think that Sammy Guevara is going to play a role in costing MJF the match, which is going to cause further strife within the Inner Circle. And then that may be maybe where we see a certain someone, because I don't think the Inner Circle is disbanding. I think someone's getting kicked out. And I honestly, if I could even just allude to that, I definitely think it's Sammy Guevara, but I think it's going to be his chance. He's going to be given that chance to kind of shine on his own.
Okay. Jovanni.
Man, this battle royal was amazing. I've seen some people that said it was a little too quick. I personally love the quick battle royals. Get in there, tell all the story that you need, and get it down to business so we can keep going. Moment of the battle royal. Honorable mention to Hangman Page doing his levitation on the Dark Order.
Yes.
I popped. But Miro looking like a damn beast.
Miro looked great.
Ooh,
dude,
he looked amazing.
He looks like he's kind of getting that step back. And I told some of you guys in our chats, I was like, had I not seen Miro on our markout, I would have believed that this dude is just a straight killer. But hats off to Miro. Great match for him. But I'm going to stray away from you here, DDJ. I don't think the right call was made. I would have loved it to be either MJF and Wardlow at the end to kind of either break them up, or I would have even loved for MJF and Sammy to be the last two to kind of really get that inner turmoil going with the Inner Circle, excuse me. But Orange Cassidy went out there and did his thing, and a couple of, I guess they were calling them the Orange Punch, or they called it something last night that was weird. It caught me off guard.
Orange Punch sounds right.
Yeah, because they normally just go freshly squeezed. But I think last night they were calling it the Orange Punch.
Yeah.
But it was I'm a big fan of Orange Cassidy. I just don't think that was the right move. Had we been able to further MJF's storyline with either Wardlow or Sammy, that would have been the prime opportunity, especially with this Inner Circle business going on where we either get it together or we don't, and we're breaking up. That could have been a catalyst for that, but I don't know. So we'll see what happens. I think I definitely think MJF retains, but he does so. I think it's going to be a clean match. I have a feeling it's going to be a clean win.
Yeah, that's the most shocking thing of it all, because MJF is definitely dirtiest player in the game. Shout out to Ric Flair there. Definitely. I definitely think MJF is definitely going to retain that ring. It makes sense for a heel to have that ring, to use it in matches, which MJF has done. Orange Cassidy would just use it and do absolutely nothing with it. So it makes no sense to put that on Orange Cassidy at all. So MJF goes over. I had an interesting theory, maybe I was thinking either like MJF or Sammy would make it to the finals, because once everybody found out it was two, because there was a little confusion about that.
Yeah.
I had Hangman making it to that final two, and then maybe possibly the Dark Order could have helped him in that match next week to help him win that ring, to further that story. But they just furthered the story on its own. And then another kind of interesting story that was in that match was Matt Hardy and Private Party. I think he'd eliminated one of the members, Isaiah. So maybe there's, I know it's still a battle royal, but you could still read into that a little bit. And then Matt Hardy maybe might be trying to put himself over, because on BTE he thinks he's hot shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So interesting to see where that goes.
Actually, if you look at it, Hardy eliminated both of them, because he actually eliminated Isaiah Cassidy.
Right.
And then Mark Quinn was trying to do the silly string when he got booted off of his back.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, just real quick, you made a BTE reference. Shout out to that epic battle for the BTE title between John Silver and Trent. I never thought I'd be so as entertained as I was watching them try to throw mustard packets in a bowl.
Yes. If you have not seen BTE this week, one, it's a great episode, of course, because you get more Dark Order. You got Anna Jay and Johnny Hungy. They just go like, Anna, Johnny. That part's great. But then the main event, the BTE championship defense between Johnny Hungy and Trent, throwing mustard packets into a cup. And then they eventually had to put water because one actually went in there and it bounced out.
Yep.
And it took forever. And then you didn't even mention the best part. Nick Jackson says, "Hey, the next 2 shots, if any one of you makes it in, I'll PayPal you $1,000." What does Johnny Hungy does? He comes out in the clutch. He makes that shot. He retains the BTE championship, and he wins $1,000. We need to start calling him Johnny Clutchy or something like that, because this man,
that $1,000, that's going to buy a lot of Chili's meals.
Official sponsor of the Dark Order and hopefully the Junkyard one day.
One day, Chili's. We're hungry too.
we hungry.
Junkies hungry.
Junkie hungry. Look for merch in the future. Okay, let's move on to the next match. Britt Baker versus legit Layla Hirsch. Good match. Layla looked good, but really this was all about making Britt look like a star, getting a good win, making her look dominant. And then afterwards, Thunder Rosa came out and attacked Britt Baker to further that storyline. And then there was, I think, before the match, it was her talking about Thunder Rosa and say, you don't belong here. Go back to the NWA, stop flip-flopping, and just make up your damn mind, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it was a really good match and stuff. I thought, it was pretty much, I think, in most people's minds, it's pretty obvious Britt was going to go over, but I don't watch Dark. And
no one does.
Which is a shame because I'm sure there's a lot of talented guys on there and stuff.
There is.
But my whole thing was this was like my first real exposure to Layla Hirsch, and she looked as her name is legit. I thought she had a great showing. I mean, there were a couple times I thought maybe she might win and stuff, but I mean, so I expect big things from her down the line. But yeah, it was Britt, and then obviously, and just shout out to Reba. She is just entertaining as Britt's lackey flute, whatever you want to call her and stuff. I mean,
Rebel or Reba?
Reba, Rebel, whatever. Either name works. I think they're pretty interchangeable
it's
now.
Reba, I think.
That's my favorite gag they do is it's Rebel or Reba, whatever she is.
Right. So yeah, no, and I've said it before. I'll re-say it again. Britt Baker is going to be your next AEW Women's Champion.
I feel like I'm taking a lot of hot takes tonight, but damn it, I guess I'll go with it. I'll double down with another one. Another wrong choice was made here tonight. I feel like the Thunder Rosa interference would have meant more had it been in match and caused Britt Baker to lose to somebody that she possibly looks down on, a la Layla Hirsch.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Making the awesome showing. She looks strong at points, but just having that little distraction and to get the fluky win or however you want to say it for an up-and-comer would have done a lot for Layla Hirsch, give her that win against a big name. It forwarded the storyline with Thunder Rosa, and it gave Britt that steam out of her ass to go get her. But they didn't go that route, but Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker are still coming along as a great storyline, and I'm still invested.
So basically what you're saying is they AEW missed on their chance to make Layla Hirsch their version of Leon Ruff.
Exactly. It wasn't Leon Ruff shouldn't have. That was for a belt. That was horrible.
Yeah.
I stay by that. I'll die on that cross.
And you can say that tomorrow for our NXT War Games prediction show right after SmackDown in the Pro Wrestling Junkies Facebook group.
Right on.
Cheap pop for us.
Yeah, man. Got to plug us too. Okay, so I think I got these matches reversed, but we'll go back to it because we talked about it a little bit. You had Chris Jericho versus Frankie Kazarian. Again, good match. The main thing I want to take out of that is we had the Inner Circle try to interfere. You had Jake Hager get involved and get in Kazarian's face, and then you had Ortiz come in, and he had like the loaded sock, and I think Jake was like, no, don't use that. We don't want Chris to get disqualified. And then MJF comes out. He has the towel he was going to throw it in for Chris, but then Sammy darts out and he's like, no, you're not doing that. And then while that's all going on, Kazarian gets distracted and then gets hit with a Judas effect. 1, 2, 3, Jericho wins. And then, as we alluded to earlier, there is a little bit of turmoil between the Inner Circle, which there has been, and Chris Jericho gives the Inner Circle an ultimatum: in 7 days, if they don't stop their bickering, the Inner Circle is gone forever. Which, hot take, well, actually not even a hot take, the Inner Circle will be around forever. Well, not forever, but at least for a long while. And I mean, I would love if they're together forever. They're great. And yeah, they'll be together, but they'll eventually turn on each other.
So when you say together forever, all of a sudden they had this that Rick Astley song, Together Forever.
Oh God, no.
And but that just popped in my head. One thing you actually forgot, one little detail that I thought was actually, I thought it was pretty big deal. I didn't hear in this was when Jericho saw the towel, MJF was not the one that had the towel. Somehow Sammy wound up with it.
That's right.
Thought that Sammy was going to throw in the towel and started getting on Sammy's case,
Yep. Yeah.
But actually, and I think it was Jim Ross that alluded to it or something. It's like Jericho's going to see it on replay, and he'll know the truth or whatever and stuff. But I thought that was actually a nice little detail that they put into the match, because it adds that little bit of it. Not only adds to the friction overall, it adds to that ever increasing friction that's basically been going on since MJF joined the Inner Circle between he and Sammy Guevara.
Right.
Yep.
But going into the match, though, it was, again, I believe it was mentioned that this was like Jericho's 2,750th match or something like that, but it was his first one-on-one encounter with Frankie Kazarian, and considering those two have been in the business, it's amazing that they've never got in the ring with each other. And Frankie Kazarian has been someone from the time I discovered him in TNA that has always been able to put on a great match with whoever you throw him in the ring with and stuff. So it was nice to see him get a little bit of a shine here with Jericho. And so I thought it was a very good match as well, too. So, but yeah, I'm anxious to see where we go with this whole Inner Circle thing next week.
Gentlemen, on a show that was loaded with incredible matches, this one here, to me, stole a little bit of the night, man. This show, this match, damn, it was good. And I think both of y'all missed a big unsung hero in this whole match, and that's whoever did Frankie Kazarian's hair plugs, because those bitches, man, his hair looks good.
Hey, you better watch it when you say that kind of stuff around him, because he's got, again, BTE reference. He's got a little bit of an anger problem.
Do you?
Yeah.
Hey, Frankie, have you taken up anger management classes? No, that's a great part too. So yeah, great match too. Okay, let's get into the meat of this episode, because we're gonna start getting into the good stuff now.
This is where it really takes off.
Oh yeah, buddy. Okay, so we had Team Taz, Powerhouse Will Hobbs, Jovanni's favorite wrestler of all time.
I knew it.
Yep, you had to get in there. And Absolute Ricky Starks versus Cody Rhodes and the TNT champion Darby Allin. This probably was, I would say, probably the weakest match on the card. There was some good interaction. Powerhouse Hobbs looked legit. JR was putting him over big time on commentary. Darby took a hell of a beating in this match, and then Cody came in, did what Cody does. No time to waste on that. Jovan doesn't like that. He's a Cody guy. And then Darby comes in after Cody does, I think, the Cody Cutter. And then Darby tags himself in, does a coffin drop to Ricky Starks. 1, 2, 3. They go over. Okay, let's get into the post match, and then I'll get you guys' thoughts on this. Post match, Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks come out, and they just start beating up Darby and Cody. Arn doesn't like this. Arn comes in and starts getting physical with Hobbs, and then Hobbs starts getting physical back with him. And then Brian Cage comes out to kind of even score, and then also Dustin Rhodes comes out, and I think Brian Cage F5s Dustin, and then maybe Cody or Darby or somebody. And then Whew, gotta take a breather here, man. This is gonna be good.
I need to compose ourselves.
Yep. So while this is all going on, the arena goes black. The screen pops up. There's this wintry imagery. This fake snow starts falling. You got like black crows and stuff, kind of like a Game of Thrones-esque video package. And I'm just like, is like Jon Snow coming out here or something? Because I did not know what the hell was going on.
Maybe it could have been Olaf from Frozen for all we know.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Oh God, no! Please let that go. But then, as soon as the video package ends and the words pop up, all you see is Sting, and everybody just loses their collective mind. And then out walks the man they call Sting, the icon, walks out. Sting is all elite. He walks out to the ring, kind of does a little interaction with Arn, then Cody, then Dustin, and then he goes to Darby, and they spend a little extended time together there. And it looks like there might be a little foreshadowing, maybe that Sting might be a mentor to Darby, which a lot of people have been teasing and possibly wanting. Guys, you can talk about the match. I don't think really that's even that important to talk about with the after effects. But what is your reaction just to this whole segment and your thoughts of Sting being in AEW now?
You know what, Jovanni? I'm going to let you lead off on this one.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I'm gonna hit on the match real quick before we go into Sting. The match did what it was supposed to do. Powerhouse Hobbs, hate it. Came out looking strong. He got himself some credibility. I saw some people not liking that he became a heel because they're like, well, he was barely a face. Well, come on, you guys. You have to, you know the backstories with Hobbs. They played all into it. He turns. That's the reason it was a big deal. But this time, last night, they made him look very, very tough. They put him over on commentary. So they established Powerhouse Hobbs as a heel. And I enjoyed it.
Ooh.
What?
I know.
That's a hot take right there.
I didn't want to, but I did. I enjoyed it. The match, from everywhere else but that point, wasn't nothing special.
Yeah.
But the aftermath, of the man they call Sting, the icon Sting. There's a handful of times in the last few years that I have genuinely popped watching pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Edge returns.
Yes.
I popped.
Mm-hmm.
Sting last night. I popped harder than I have popped in my whole life.
Yes.
Since I felt like I was a child again that just saw either The Rock return for the first time after leaving to Hollywood. That was the kind of emotion that it pulled out of me. And the whole thing with Sting was just, it was the whole production value. He came out there, the chills of, oh my God, it's Sting. But the fact that none of the dirt sheets even had a whiff of this.
Yeah.
Kayfabe on Wednesday night was alive and well. Cornette may not have liked anything, but I guarantee you he had to like that part.
Yeah,
but
had to.
DDJ?
So much like you Spencer and Jovanni said, it was an okay match. Like I said, it was the out of all the matches they had in the card, the weakest match on the card, but by no means was it a bad match. It just didn't really nothing from the actual match really stood out.
Right.
But yeah, you get into the aftermath, and that's when this show really went up another notch or two.
Whole nother level.
So, I'm sitting there watching it. I'm home by myself. The wife and the kid are at, the mother-in-law's house where they've been staying for the past, during this pandemic because my mother-in-law hasn't been in the best of health and that. So I had the house to myself. And thank God I did because I'm watching that and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then when I saw Sting flash across the screen, I kid you not, I literally yelled out, holy shit.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I was just totally in awe of all that, Sting coming down, having the interactions with all the guys. But yeah, Spencer, you mentioned, his interaction with Darby, and I'm really intrigued because I feel like they're going to go somewhere with that, and that's just going to benefit Darby. That's just going to make Darby an even bigger star than he's already become. And just real quick here, I just want to kind of go into a little bit of a rant because I think I know you guys in the chat here. And it's this, and this is actually going out to fans that for some reason or another decided that there's still that toxic part of the wrestling fandom that decided to shit on this because of Sting's age. Yes, Sting is 61 years old. Just because Sting showed up does not mean he's going to sit there and wrestle week in and week out. This isn't the WWE. He's not coming in to take the AEW title from, now the new champion, Kenny Omega. He's not coming in to take somebody else's spot. And these people are so short-sighted and just think they know everything. I don't think I know everything, but I think I know a lot more than a lot of people out there. And no, from a publicity move, this was brilliant. This is a game changer.
Yes.
Because people know Sting. Sting was a big part of TNT during the Nitro days. Sting is home.
Yes.
And if you sit there and think that this was stupid of AEW to do because of the fact that he's 61 and he really can't wrestle anymore, then you just don't get it. Sting is not coming here to wrestle every week in and week out. He might have a similar role to Arn Anderson where he may do an occasional bumper there. But he is there to get guys like Darby Allin to the next level. I, for one, 100% think that this was the best thing they could have done because this is going to do nothing but get more eyes on AEW. And I'm not even alluding to what happened after this. But also, too, again, it was amazing. I was genuinely surprised, like Jovanni mentioned. Probably the last time I was this surprised by something I saw happen live was Edge's return at the Royal Rumble. And also, too, Sting's return had such an impact. It was announced on Pro Wrestling Tees earlier today as of this recording that the shirt he wore at Impact had already broken, and I don't even think it was that it was a full 24 hours since he debuted, but they already said that it broke their 24-hour sales record for like a shirt launching. So that just goes to tell you the love for Sting is still out there. People still want Sting. Yeah, we may not get that Sting Undertaker match that everybody talked about, but at this point in time, I'm good with that. I want to see what Sting can do with Darby Allin. I'm all in on Sting in AEW.
And apparently AEW is too, because it came out that he's got a multi-year contract. So,
well deserved.
Yeah.
And again, just one more thing, guys. Again, just because an old wrestler shows up, they're not taking somebody's spot. AEW has proven that with these guys, like with Jericho, with Arn, with Tully, with Sting now, they're not bringing these guys in to take the spot of somebody else. They're bringing these guys in to put their guys over and to help them get to the next level. And WWE really needs to take note of this because I think this is the first shot. Not the only shot that was taken that night, but I think this is the first shot. I think where WWE, it's going to be a while still, but WWE really needs to be worried about AEW because AEW it's really starting to pick up some steam, and this show is a just full indication of that.
I've got a hot take later tonight after we get through the final match, DDJ, and what we keep alluding to, what happened at the end. But we'll dig into that in a minute.
Yeah, because that, as DDJ very nicely alluded to, that isn't even the biggest thing that happened on the card, and this was a very big thing because I think first off, before we get into that, there was just a little promo we could talk about real quick. Sheeta,
yes,
she was getting interviewed, and then Abaddon's been kind of following her. She gets spooked, and Sheeta's like, "Can we start this over?" And then Alex is like, "No, we're live, pal." A la Sid Vicious. So then, she's like, "Okay, well, no." So it looks like Abaddon is probably, I don't know, might not be her next challenger, but at least going to be like going after Sheeta for a while.
And Yeah.
Go ahead.
One of the things that I really liked about this is I think it's kind of, it brought Sheeta down a little bit because obviously the way she'd been booked is like, like that nobody was going to stop her.
Yeah.
And I think Abaddon, who I'm not going to lie, she scares the shit out of me. Like, I'm not going to lie. Her, I mean, I've seen her without her makeup, and it's like completely opposite how she portrays herself on TV, which I think makes her even that much more talented because in that stuff. But like I said, Abaddon scares the crap out of me. I mean, I've never seen anything but one like her, and it's a unique look. Yeah. And I really like the fact that they showed that Sheeta is not this invincible person, because I think as much as I love Sheeta, I think she was getting to that level where people were kind of starting to think that way of her. I think this, like, you could clearly tell she was rattled by Abaddon, and I'm really anxious to see. Because you think about it, there was that instance where I think the pipe dropped, and that's when you alluded to Spencer, and that kind of freaked out because she's thinking, is Abaddon close? And that, so, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that I really like that because I think it kind of showed some vulnerability on Sheeta's side, which is something I think that really kind of needs to be shown, and that. So let's see if she can overcome this.
Am I the only one that's slightly attracted to Abaddon? I don't know what it is.
Or without?
Both.
Oh,
without I'll give you. With no, I'm so. I
don't know, man. She's creepy, but I like it. I don't know why, but
So we kind of know what Jovanni likes. He likes the creepy chicks.
I like the creepy chicks. We've already had that conversation with the Ruby Riott haircut situation.
Ruby Riott is not creepy. Ruby Riott is I call her oddly hot, but she is far from creepy.
Oh yeah, but that's what I was saying. It's that same kind of, like, it's just there's something different. I like different, weird. I don't know what it is. It's maybe one too many cigarettes, but cigarettes.
Yeah.
On a side note, then, I do like how DDJ put it. It seems like they are starting to chip away at the Super Sheeta. So I'm all down for it. We recently just said that it didn't look like anybody could beat Sheeta because she's been looking so strong.
Yeah.
Well, when you've got the muscles, what do you go after? The mind. So I'm down. Let's see where they take it.
Yeah, definitely. Again, I don't think we don't think Abaddon will win that title, but definitely will make Sheeta a little more vulnerable. So it'll be interesting with that. Like, whenever I first saw Abaddon, definitely creeped me out too. I was like, what the hell is this? Kind of like, I think she is AEW's version of Su Yung, who is, when she's Susie, she's very beautiful. And even as Su Yung, she's not bad looking either.
As Su Yung, dude, I would go, damn it. Yeah, I got to type.
Jovanni, do you need some alone time?
Yeah,
I might.
You might need to talk to Rich Swann about that one.
Look, I will fight Rich Swann. You can't handle this.
That is official call out to Rich Swann. El Guapo Too Hotty will take you down.
Hey,
right.
Hey, you heard it here first. El Guapo Too Hotty versus Rich Swann at Talking Chopamania 3.
I want that on a shirt.
I would buy that shirt.
I would buy it just to support you, man.
There you go.
All right. All right. Let's get into this main event because we got a lot to unpack with this one. All right. So it's Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Title. This match is billed as the biggest match in Dynamite history, and rightfully so it was. These two come out. Kenny comes out in not his usual entrance he has, no girls or anything. It's just like the introduction, says he hails from Japan, which is like what are miles from North Carolina? Because you got to get that in. You got to get that in there. I really don't know how they haven't made that a shirt yet, the North Carolina thing.
I know. I'm waiting for it.
It'll probably come soon. But yeah, so he comes out, he does that entrance, a lot more serious looking, and then, Mox comes out through the crowd. So then we get into the match. These two go back and forth, hard-hitting match.
Yes.
Jon Moxley hits a paradigm shift on Kenny Omega, and everybody's like, why don't you just go for the cover? But then he doesn't. He pulls out two chairs, and then there was like a gentleman's agreement, like no garbage wrestling. And we're like, oh no, Jon Moxley's going to break that and hit Kenny Omega with a chair. No, he sets up two chairs, tells Kenny to sit down. They just basically slap the shit out of each other and then get some punches in. And then Kenny V-triggers John Moxley. So then they go back and forth again. John Moxley hits another paradigm shift, goes for the 3 count. Kenny kicks out at like 2 8/4. And then John Moxley takes it outside of the ring. Probably does like another paradigm shift, kind of look more like a Death Rider onto like the heaters that they provided. Shout out to AEW for keeping the wrestlers warm because it was cold in Jacksonville last night.
40-something degrees, wasn't there? Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cold in Georgia here too. But then
we got nothing on a Chicago cold.
Oh, we're not going to get into that right now. Okay, so then after John does that to Kenny, forgot to mention Don Callis was on commentary. That will play a very big part in this match. He had been there before, but it's just like, okay, he's just kind of like an advocate for Kenny and just to basically put him over on commentary.
Right.
So
because of
then,
the history together.
Right. So then Don comes over to check on Kenny, and then he grabs a mic and because after Mox brings him back in the ring to beat him up, Don goes, no, he's hurt. Just stop. Don't mess with him. So then John knocks out Don Callis, who drops the mic, and Kenny sees the mic. He grabs it, goes to the other corner of the ring. And while this is all going on with Don Callis and the referee, Mox is distracted. Kenny whams him upside the head, knocking him out with the microphone. John is busted open, and then Kenny hits him with like 3 or 4 V triggers, which look amazing, by the way. And so hard hitting. And then he hits the 1-winged angel. We get the 1, 2, 3, and we have a brand new AEW World Champion in Kenny Omega. Now, that would be big in itself because we have a new champion, and John Moxley has been the champion since AEW Revolution. But wait, no,
there's more.
Oh, there's so much more. Okay, so after the match, Kenny and Don Callis, they grab the belt and they hightail it straight out of the arena. They run past like Tony Khan. Other people are there. I can't remember them. But so then they go to the there's like a black SUV, and kind of, if you might have seen that before at the end of AEW, what was it? All Out.
Yep.
So they go to this black SUV, and it's like, that looks oddly familiar. So these two are running out. Alex Marvez is trying to find out what the hell's going on, and everybody wants answers because Kenny is going out with Don Callis, and we're like, what's going on? So then Don Callis says, hey, you'll find your answer out next Tuesday. And then Alex Marvez is like, but Dynamite's on Wednesday. I'm honestly shocked he didn't say, yeah, but Dark's on Tuesday. We need some kind of ratings. Because again, no one watches Dark.
I watch Dark.
Hey, Junkyard, Junkies, if you can convince me to watch Dark, I'll do it. But right now I'm not doing it. But anyways, so then Kenny or Don Callis says, no, you will find out this Tuesday night on Impact Wrestling on Access TV.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, done. And then there was like an after segment with like Eddie Kingston stuff, but that was just whatever. Anyways, so Kenny Omega's the champion, and he's working with Don Callis, and we won't find out until Tuesday why Kenny did what he did and aligned himself with Chief Vice President, Executive, whatever his big title was, for Impact Wrestling. Guys, we have cross promotion. We've had a little bit with NWA, but this is so much bigger now. You're going to have the AEW World Champion on Impact Wrestling TV, another network. Just start wherever you want. Unpack it. Get into it. Let's go.
DDJ?
So one thing that, again, that match was everything I had hoped it would be. It was a match I everything I hoped to be, everything I wanted it to be. It went to show you that they didn't need to do what they did at Full Gear last year to put on a great match.
Yes.
Much like you, I didn't think anything of it. I knew, Don Callis. I think he did. He's done commentary a couple times for Kenny Omega matches.
Mm-hmm.
I think he mentioned All Out. I believe he did.
Yeah.
and stuff. And again, a lot of, the hardcore fans, they know the history with, Don Callis and Kenny Omega. I believe even Don Callis alluded, I think it was Kenny Omega's, was it his uncle or something like relative of Kenny Omega's, like, was the one that trained Don Callis or worked with him when he first started out.
Yeah, I think it was the uncle.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, I didn't think anything of that. It's just like, okay, it's a really big match. They're bringing Don Callis out because of his relationship with Kenny.
Right.
Then, then they go to the part where, Moxley hits the Death Rider, or, the paradigm shift, whichever version of it you want to call it, on the heater, and, it looked like Kenny was hurt. And I'm thinking, oh God, I hope he's not really hurt. Like, I thought he might've actually been hurt.
Yeah.
But then when, like, Callis came to the ring and John Moxley knocked him out in the mic drop, I saw Kenny going from, like, oh shit, something's going down. Yeah. I think, but even then it still didn't enter my mind what we were about to see. I just thought it was like, okay, the Kenny Omega heel turn's finally complete. He just, Don Callis is the one that basically they brought him in to kind of cement that,
Yeah.
But still, even then, the 1, 2, 3 happens, Omega wins the belt, Moxley's busted open. But then when Omega grabbed the belt and they took off running, I'm like, what the heck is going on? And one thing I want to give a shout out to is shout out to the commentary team for really getting Kenny over as a heel at this point in time with the commentary.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, JR and Tony really hit it out of the park with everything they were saying and stuff, but it's just, when they got to the black SUV and Alex Marvez is trying to do his job to figure out what happened, when Don Callis said, you will get all the answers and you will find out this Tuesday, I'm thinking, wait, what? And then Marvez is like, no, Impact Dynamite's on Wednesdays. And he said it again. He said, it's, this coming Tuesday and Impact on Access. I'm like, again, my second holy shit of the night. This is the first time in I don't know how long that I've had 2 holy shit moments on a wrestling show that wasn't a pay-per-view.
Yes.
And just so, I mean, Spencer, you know how long I've been trying to get you to watch Impact. I've made it a mission of mine to get you to watch Impact on a consistent basis. And I remember shortly after this aired, you messaged in our little chat and said, I'm watching Impact this upcoming week.
Yep.
There's so many people that are talking about Impact. Again, there's so many people talking about AEW. This is going to do nothing but good for the business, because if it looks like we have that partnership between Impact and AEW, and you think about all of the possibilities, I mean, now we could, and the interaction with the Impact and the AEW superstars on Twitter afterward, it was amazing. I mean, you had the Young Bucks tweeting, one more time with the Motor City Machine Guns. You had the FTR tweeting with the North. And stuff. I mean, it's just all of these possibilities. You had Sami Callihan tweeting, possibly reuniting with John Moxley, their tag team back in their indie days. I mean, anybody that again, this kind of ties into my rant that I gave earlier, was saying anybody that thinks this is a bad idea just doesn't get it.
Yes.
They don't get it, because this is going to do nothing but get more eyes and more buzz going for AEW. But this is really going to help put Impact on the map, because I've been very open about my feelings about Impact Wrestling. I've called it the best wrestling show that nobody's watching. And I think that, hopefully it's going to help. I don't think it's going to be overnight, but this could finally be what Impact needs to get back to where it was back in the days when it was pulling 1 million viewers on a regular basis on Spike TV. So I again, much like I said, I'm all in on Sting with Darby Allin. I'm all in on this partnership with AEW and Impact, and I cannot wait to see what happens this Tuesday night. I said it right, this coming Tuesday on Impact on Access TV. And guys, if you don't know how to get it, please, if you can't, if your provider does not carry Access TV, watch it on their Twitch channel.
Right.
All right. DJ coming in hot and heavy.
Yep.
So once again, I will start with the match. I love the cleaner Kenny Omega in Japan. And the reason I loved Kenny Omega as the cleaner in Japan was everything he did looked brutal. Kenny's had some matches in Japan where that V trigger looked like it would take your head off.
Oh my God.
Come to AEW, the V trigger didn't really have that much of a pop on it like it used to.
Yeah.
But this match with Moxley, those last 4, I was back into seeing Kenny Omega as the best again because that was how he wrestled. Super stiff. Those knees were money. The one-winged angel was just the icing on the cake. He's back. For anybody that's doubted Kenny Omega, trying to figure out why the best in the world will start a company up and put himself in a jobbing role or as an enhancement role, he understands business and he knows what they need to get the business going.
Yep.
After a year, this business has already grown legs. This business has gone out of control with people that watch it every week. Its own niche group of fans are dedicated. If you don't believe me, go into your local Walmart and tell me if you find an AEW toy. I guarantee you can't.
I still have yet to see a figure. One figure, and they've been out since August. I still have yet to see one figure.
And they've got the second wave out supposedly already, and people still can't find them.
Yeah.
So they've already built the fan base. Now we're a year in. People who don't know this side of Kenny Omega, they're going to get hooked. Push it even further. We're bringing in UIs. Let's get Thunder Rosa. She's about 5 years in. She's doing amazing things. She's with the NWA. Let's bring the NWA belt to Dynamite. Let's see what we can do with the AEW and NWA. That helped restart the women's division. The women's division, while Thunder Rosa has been there and putting on some matches, have been able to continue to train, continue to grow. And you have a lot of AEW talent coming out like Anna Jay did when she got her title match and has looked phenomenal because they were given the extra time to grow.
Yep.
Follow me on this train of time. Now, Kenny Omega to Impact. Don Callis, Kenny, whatever this is going to amount to. Impact and AEW. I've already been a big fan of Impact, and I've only given you one reason to watch every week, and it's always been Moose. Now, to see what AEW is doing, whatever this partnership and whatever comes out of it, this is what I want to get over. The wrestlers are excited.
Yes, they are.
People in the industry are excited. Anybody who is not a toxic wrestling fan is excited.
Yep.
Gentlemen, we have a buzz right now in the industry that I haven't seen since the territories.
Preach.
And damn it, I'm excited. You want to know why I'm excited?
Why are you excited?
A good friend of ours that was on an episode of the Junkyard, Mr. Tamatonga, told us once, the American fans lack one thing, and that's that they don't let the long story burn.
Yep.
They want instant gratification.
Yeah.
Who does TNA already have a working relationship with?
Yeah.
What can possibly open the door into storylines between NJPW and AEW? Guys, come on. You have the Bucks going against the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah.
And the Bucks get ambushed by the firing squad.
Yes.
Come on. Who is not excited? It is not hard to see where these dominoes can fall. Even if we don't get there, we are building into what can happen.
Yep.
And for that, I'm going to say this, and it's going to be my hot take of the night. If you're a wrestling fan right now, remember Wednesday night. Winter is coming. Because winter wasn't coming for AEW. Winter came for the WWE.
Exactly. Well put. I just wanted to I was while you were
mind blown.
Yeah, blowing my mind with your amazing words, Jovanni. I wanted to like, you know what? I'm excited to see how many viewers AEW Dynamite did for last night's show. And just if there's a little bit of breaking news here. Oh, I don't know if it's breaking or not, but Dynamite did 913,000 viewers last night.
Yep.
So
It's good.
I'm gonna give a hot take right now as well. I fully expect next week for AEW to do over 1 million viewers. I'm calling it now.
Woo. Not a hot take. It's happening.
Not only do you have the aftermath of what happened at the end of Winter is Coming, but Sting is also going to speak.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I would be shocked beyond belief if Dynamite does not do 1 million viewers next week.
What I'm more interested in, yes, Dennis, honestly, that is not a hot take. With everything that happened on this episode of Dynamite, with the lead in to Impact on Tuesday's night, Access TV, watch Twitch stream if you can't. It'll also be available, I think, the day after on Impact Plus. There's no excuse. You need to watch Impact. Hell, I even watched this week's Impact to get ready for this Impact. If I have said I'm not, I think the last time I watched it was Slammiversary, and I'm one of those ones like, I don't know, maybe not time. I found time. I watched it. Everyone should go out of their way and make sure they watch Impact next week. You have no excuse. Okay.
Yeah. Real quick, I'm not the kind of guy that says I told you so, but I told you so.
Oh, God. Hey, I was trying to be nice, but hey, retribution. It's not even WWE stuff, and I just had to get that in there too.
So that makes you an even bigger jerk right now.
Well, you're being a big jerk too. But I love you, man. Okay. But just I'm trying to get back on my train of thought. I am more interested with what Impact is going to do, because yes, this is going to impact help AEW, yes, but really the biggest thing that this is going to do is help Impact. They are, and like I watched Impact this week, and they have been going in this pandemic era without crowds, and it is like they have good wrestling. Don't get me wrong, but they are, I think, one of the last ones, and I think maybe ROH is still doing it with no crowd, but
I believe it's just those two. I think I think MLW, they just relaunched it. I don't think they're doing crowds either.
Okay, first off, not a hot take. Guys, get your shit together, get some people in there, get some atmosphere in there. It is really hard to watch this wrestling without people in there. I will try my hardest, but I need some kind of interaction. Mm-hmm. The WWE failed flat on their face when they did Raw, when they did SmackDown, when they did NXT, all that crap, and then they finally got their acts together and they did the Thunderdome. Best move they could have done. Do something like that, because now you're going to have the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega on your product. I don't even know if he's going to be like on the show. They might just do like a recorded thing, but still, he's going to be on your product. Get some people in there. That needs to be the first thing that needs to be addressed in your next set of tapings. Do that. Second, now Impact, their ratings, I don't know what they are. They've probably been not that great. But with the bump in Kenny Omega, and they might have some trouble with not access not available in the households. It'll be very interesting to see if they do like gangbusters next week, or it might even take like a few weeks to catch up, but it'll be interesting to see this Impact, no pun intended, the Impact with the AEW World Champion, and then who else comes over. Could be the Bucks, could be Cody, could be anybody. Like we could get those dream matches. Yes, give me FTR versus the North. Give me Shida versus the Virtuosa, Deonna Purrazzo.
I got one for you.
Give me another one.
Versus Sue Young.
Oh God, yes. See,
that would be amazing.
Jovan wouldn't be able to contain himself on that one.
I would not. I'm watching with the box of tissues, boys, and not because I'm crying.
Oh, it's a late night edition of the Junkyard here.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so then also, Jovan, you brought up a fantastic point. And when I was watching Impact this week, they mentioned the Super J Cup, which Chris Bay and TJP are going to be in. And then also, I think there's been talks whenever the Good Brothers can go back to Japan, they're jumping straight on like a plane to go to New Japan and film an angle. That's already in the works, and that was in their contracts. So yes, there's a working relationship with New Japan. It just has to be once everything gets back up, and I think they probably could do it in the States because they had New Japan Strong or something. I don't know if they've done anything there, but there is that possibility. And if they get a good relationship and AEW has a good relationship with Impact, the gate is wide open, and I don't even know if it's a hot take anymore. It's just, please, we want this. The wrestling world needs this. This gate needs to be open. We need Impact, AEW, throw ROH in there too. New Japan, all of them. They all need to come together and create one awesome brand. They still do their own stuff, but then they make this mega awesome story. Then they go up against the man, the WWE, and they take down Vince McMahon.
Gentlemen, this is, like I said, in the territorial days, all the territories bounded together because of some big games that were trying to run shop and steal people. Guys, we're back here where it's time to take out the evil giant. It's time to take out the mind control, and this is what wrestling is, sports entertainment. It's not sports entertainment, damn it. Wrestling is not sports entertainment. It's pro wrestling. Completely different. We're tired of Vince McMahon's soap operas. We need to get back to the fundamentals.
I'm tired of WWE shows being written for the enjoyment of one person, and that being Vince McMahon, because I firmly believe that a lot of this stuff is just to appease him, which is this is the biggest mistake. But like I said, the best thing about all of this going on is that the real winners in all of this are the fans.
Yes. Yep.
DDJ, let me throw some names at you and let me know if they're champions or what they're doing in WWE right now, because these are some big names.
Yeah.
You ready?
Do it.
Ricochet.
No.
Keith Lee.
No.
Yeah. I mean, 2 in and it already hurts. We're gonna keep going. Daniel Bryan.
He's been treated well.
He's been okay, but I think he's more because of Daniel Bryan. He does have supposedly he's got a lot of creative input on like the direction of his character, and he's come out and said that this is his last full-time run. So Daniel Bryan, not as much, because I think this is by a lot of his decisions have been by choice.
Okay, well, we'll give Daniel Bryan. I don't know. I see the American Dragon every time I see him, and I don't see that guy anymore.
Oh no,
you got to run with him a little bit, but go ahead.
Shinsuke.
No, wasted.
Kushida.
Wasted.
At first, yes, but I think he's been picking up a little bit of steam as of late, so I'm kind of with him.
They're not going to do anything.
Yeah, I would agree. He's,
I haven't seen much into NXT, so I can't really say that, but for what I've seen, wasted.
He hasn't done nothing. That's time splitter. He's greatness. Let's see. It's hard to say that one because he's actually a good champion, but I still don't think they're using him well.
Go ahead.
Adam Cole.
Longest reigning NXT champion. I think they did.
Longest reigning NXT champion. Like I said, it's hard for me to say.
Yeah.
He's been doing pretty well.
They got a big match on War Games. So.
No, I think with Adam Cole, if he stays in NXT, he's going to be just fine. But the minute he goes up to that roster,
he'll be ruined.
He's
the whole freaking Undisputed Era needs to stay.
Don't split them up. That's my hot take. Don't do it.
Agreed.
I got one name for you, Jovan, since we're doing this little game. Cesaro.
Antonio Casanoglu.
Oh, that one hurts. Any more in this heartbreaking journey we're going through WWE? Any women? Tag teams?
Wait, what are tag teams in
WWE doesn't? He's talking about the New Day.
And Street Profits.
Street Profits. Those two are great. That might be about it. Wait, we're not talking about Nia Jax or Shayna Baszler?
Oh, pass.
Thrown together tag teams? Hey,
no.
I'll admit AEW did throw together Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page, but they did good.
It worked.
They ran
elite though.
But this one's not working at all.
Like that was that. Like they had a sustained run because they worked quite well together.
Yeah.
Let's see. Any women? I want to throw out a woman that I don't think has been really getting a lot of love. Lana. I'm done.
Hey, Lana. Yeah, you're going through a table. Shit.
That's number 9. It's my lucky number. Maybe I'll stop now.
When's my contract up?
I've already said my piece about Lana. She really, if this storyline does not end with Lana putting Nia Jax through a table, then it was a complete just waste of my time.
I agree with that. And guys, I know it sounds like we're bashing WWE, and Pro Wrestling Junkies is a positive wrestling community. And, like some other, yes, throw those thumbs up, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy all the way.
Orange Cassidy thumbs.
Yep. And we are a positive wrestling community, and there are some other communities that fake the positivity and just, try to BS you. No, we're going to be as positive as we can and want what's best for everybody. And we're not just going to say something's positive just for the sake of being positive. We're going to come out and say, no, this needs to be fixed. Something needs to change. And this is all for the benefit of the fans, the wrestlers, the talent, anybody involved in this. They want this. They just are afraid to say something because of who is their boss, and that is Vince McMahon.
Spencer, do you mind if I kind of piggyback off what you
piggyback, man? Jump on the back.
I don't know if you can carry me.
I'm pretty strong.
Literally.
I roll beer every day. I'm good.
There you go.
But what Spencer said is 100% true. The Pro Wrestling Junkies, we are a positive wrestling community. But you also, in this type of thing, you also have to be realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything is sunshine, lollipops, rainbows, and gumdrops, and that. So, like, some people like to portray wrestling as out there. I'm not going to throw any names out there or any groups. I think you know who I'm alluding to.
Yep.
But we have to be realistic. We're not bashing the we're like I said, we don't want to bash the WWE. I certainly don't, because WWE is what I grew up on as a wrestling fan.
Right.
We want every organization to be good, because that's the thing. I want the WWE to be good. I want AEW to be good. I want Impact to be good. I want Ring of Honor to be good. I want NXT UK to be good. I want MLW to be good. I want Chicagoland Championship Wrestling to be good. I want every single wrestling promotion out there, be it mainstream, independent, backyard, whatever. I want every wrestling promotion to be good, because when wrestling promotions are good, it's good for, like you mentioned, it's good for the fans, it's good for the talent. When wrestling is good, everybody wins.
And DDJ, how does that happen? How does everything get better?
See, and this is the one thing that every organization but the WWE seems to get right. And this actually doesn't just apply to wrestling. This applies to business. This applies to movies. This applies to TV shows. This applies to, like, singers, bands, everything. And I'll use like retail, for example. The number one goal in a retail organization is to make money.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make money? You make money by listening to what your customers are telling you.
Yep.
You make, like, you make, how do bands, grow they listen to their fans. They interact with their fans.
Mm-hmm.
They take what their fans are asking for and apply it. Same thing goes with, like, video game, basically anything in the world of entertainment, sports, whatever. If you want to grow your fan base, you need to listen to them. You need to learn how to, basically, and I'm going to steal a line from Excalibur. You got to give your people what they want.
Yep.
Exactly.
And you want good wrestling. And while WWE has shown glimpses of that, see Roman Reigns.
Yes.
That's it. Like, it's
too infrequent.
It's too infrequent. And it's just, it's gotten so bad that, I mean, you look at what the kind of numbers Raw used to pull in.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the heyday, when they would pull like 5-6 million, back in the heyday of the Monday Night Wars. They're lucky now to break 2 million a week on Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
And that goes to show if you listen to your fan base, you're going to achieve your desired result.
Yep.
So,
and I mean, that's all. It's complacency at its core, though, DDJ. Because there's not been anybody to challenge them. There's not been that big kid in school who makes you work harder so you can go up there and fight them. There's not been the legitimate threat. So they've been able to say, yeah, we're going to take the best talent, a la a Dean Ambrose, a Chris Jericho, a Rusev, and we're not going to do much with them because, everybody sees us as the pinnacle. We are where you want to be. Right. You're here. Be happy. Hey, creative has nothing for you right now, but be happy because you're here.
Right. So I wanted to kind of draw another little comparison. being from Chicago, back in the the late 80s, early 90s, I was a big Bulls fan. What did for years the Bulls to take that next step? What did the Bulls have to do? They had to vanquish the Detroit Pistons. Once they finally vanquished the Detroit Pistons and they stepped it up to that next level, that's when they were at their best, because when they got to the top, they stayed at the top for as long as the situation allowed it. They took on all comers and they came out on top, except for the 2 years Jordan was retired in the mid-90s and stuff. Exactly. But essentially what it is you want to get to that next level. Everything has that obstacle they need to overcome. And for the longest, when WWE was trying to overcome WCW, that was when they were at their best. Yes. And as soon as you said, you mentioned the word complacency, and I've said this before. One of the worst things that happened to the WWE was the purchase of WCW and ECW, because Vince bought his competition. He had won, and to the victor go the spoils, yada yada yada. But I mean, look at what the product has never recovered, and sadly, it's at a point where it'll probably never. And I'm going to quote Chris Jericho, ever get to the levels that it once was. And it's a shame, because it made for some good TV back then.
Man, you missed a prime spot to finish off with the Jericho. It would have never, ever be the same again.
I thought about that too.
All right. There's so much to unpack there. So much to go through. Just kind of to finish it off here. I just a hot take, and I'm probably going to get shit for it in the comments, but AEW, with everything that they're bringing in, with Impact, with New Japan, with ROH, all that potential right there.
NWA,
everything, they will break 2 million next year. I'm calling it now. And they will beat WWE in the ratings, like Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, whoever gets like 3 million, they will beat them, because they are listening to the fans. And as DDJ perfectly said, it's all about the consumer. This pro wrestling is all about the consumer. Like, you need to cater to your fan base. Yep. And right now, AEW, Impact, anybody else that wants to jump on board this collaboration train is listening to the fans.
Plain and simple. What is everybody talking about right now? What are all wrestling fans talking about? Are they talking about WWE?
No.
Nope. They're not even talking about NXT. And we'll get into it, when we do our War Games preview here. But I mean, NXT put on a pretty good show as well. But nobody's talking about it just because of what AEW put on. And it's not a hot take, because I'm sure you guys will both agree with me, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there to agree with me. Last night's episode of AEW Dynamite was the best episode of Dynamite that they've put on since they started that show.
Hands down, without a doubt.
Close. I mean, they came out and said, I think Tony Khan came out and said, this show was going to be pay-per-view quality, and God damn it, pardon my French, it was pay-per-view quality and then some.
And to the toxic fans who jumped on Tony Khan because he said big things were coming and you were expecting it on that one Dynamite, guys, let the burn happen. Big things came, but it wasn't when you were expecting. Nobody ever shows their full hand at once, which is why I am thoroughly excited to see where this goes.
Me too.
Yes, and to make that a me 3, I am excited. I'm all in on Impact, on AEW, on everything coming. 2020 overall has been a terrible year, but somehow AEW and Impact, they are striving. All these wrestling businesses are striving now, and we are talking about pro wrestling in 2020. And nobody thought like this would be a big thing with everything going on. We are a month left into 2020. We're about to go into 2021. And I think we're about to see one of the biggest booms in pro wrestling, I honestly think, of all time, with everything coming up. 2021 is going to be a special year. Don't you forget it. Pro wrestling is going to rise in general, and PWJ is going to come right behind its heels, and we're going to rise from the ashes like we have over these past 6 months, and we are going to take over the IWC.
So real quick before we go, one thing I kind of want to just tell you, just kind of like in terms of how much last night's episode of Dynamite meant to me. And I'm gonna also tie it in with the plug for my podcast. So get that in. Right after Dynamite ended, I recorded an interview for the latest episode of my podcast, which is going to be episode 18. That's going to come out this coming Monday. And literally, I was still on such an emotional high from what I watched. Like literally, like the first 5 to 10 minutes of my interview, my guest and I, all we were talking about was Impact and the possibilities and things like that. That's how excited I was. That's how excited my guest was about what we saw. And I'll be honest with you, I'm still on a high for that. And I have not felt this way after a weekly wrestling show in years.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get that in real quick, just to kind of just explain how much that show meant to me. And like I said, it was that much that like it carried over into my podcast, which you guys will hear this coming Monday.
Jovanni?
I was good, man. I was going to let it burn. Just let it simmer on out.
All right. Well, we'll let that simmer on out. Guys, I think we said all we can about everything that happened. Every wrestling fan, you will remember where you were when you either watched AEW Winter is Coming, when you heard about the Sting arrival, when you heard Don Callis say, watch this Tuesday night on Impact Wrestling. You will remember this. This is a paradigm shift.
Twitter exploded last night.
Oh, I can only imagine.
And it wasn't just the fans. Again, it's just like real quick before you go, I just thought of this as well too. It wasn't just the fans. To see the wrestlers from both companies being as excited as they were on Twitter last night, that just goes to show you how big this really is.
Yeah.
With more false finishes than any championship match, ladies and gentlemen, we are the Junkyard.
All right. Thank you again for everybody for joining us tonight. Again, make sure you guys follow us on the Pro Wrestling Junkies Facebook group, our Twitter, our Instagram, our YouTube, PW_Junkies. We will be going live tomorrow in the Facebook group for our NXT War Games predictions and also talking about NXT in general. So make sure you join us for that. Guys, big night with AEW and Impact. Took a little long to talk about this, but I think it's something we all need to talk about as soon as possible. So thank you for all your great input, your hot takes, everything tonight. You guys killed it.
You too, brother.
Catch me on the latest episode of Shut's Good Shoot, coming up with our fellow pod squatters, Shane, Dozer, and Isaac.
Yep, that will have dropped in our Facebook group because this will be coming out early to Friday morning. What is that? December 4th. So, guys, thank you again. Make sure you watch our NXT live show predictions show tomorrow, and we'll see you guys all then. Junkies out.
Find out this Tuesday night.
Tuesday? Dynamite's on Wednesday.
This Tuesday, Impact Wrestling on Access TV. Me and Kenny will tell you all about it, Marvin.
What the hell?